Hi, my name is Curtis Larimer. I'm a material scientist at Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. Today, I'd like to introduce you to ElastiDry, a revolutionary new coating that can make liquids slide away from gloves. This year, we've all come to terms with facing an invisible enemy. We've adjusted our lives around the risks of infection, and we've changed how we behave around others. But for healthcare workers, doctors, and nurses, that's just any other day. They have to take extreme care in their everyday work. The kind of adjustments that we make were common before the pandemic and will continue being common after. Oftentimes, there's just a thin white line, a glove, a mask, or a gown between them and a serious illness. As a piece of PPE, personal protective equipment, gloves are cheap, simple, effective. In my mind, it's just about the best bang for the buck that you can get, and better than any fancy treatment. In 1890, for example, 50% of all surgeries ended in death. That same year, the first thin latex glove was made. It took about zero time for those to become popular and widespread in use by surgeons, but it took another 75 years until cheap disposable gloves were invented. In fact, the gloves that are still in use today are barely different than they were 50 years ago, and the market is ripe for innovation. ElastiDry is a durable, water-repellent coating for surgical gloves. Unlike other repellent coatings, ElastiDry is stretchy. Water literally bounces off the surface, even as you bend and stretch and move it around. Putting this innovative material into a glove means that you won't pick up and transfer liquids around. So a nurse wouldn't pick up bacteria or virus from a piece of equipment and transfer it to a patient. And likewise, the patient wouldn't pass their illness onto a clinician. Since the gloves will be dry, those healthcare workers can also be sure to have a good grip. In the disposable glove market in healthcare, it's really split into two segments. On one side is the surgical glove, which is a high-quality medical instrument, and on the other side are the exam gloves, a low-cost commodity. So these two markets really couldn't be more different. A surgical glove is like a luxury chartered flight, and an exam glove, which is something that you or I are more commonly come in contact with, it's more like taking the bus. On the exam glove side, there are three factors: cost, cost, and cost. Other markets that use gloves share that same cost-first focus. Or they might have greater needs, but it's really too small or too niche of a market to focus on. Surgical gloves, however, are a $3.7 billion market, which is half of the overall disposable glove market, despite the fact that there are far fewer actual number of gloves made and sold. And that's because infection prevention and control in the operating theater is of critical importance to surgeons. They need to keep a clean environment, and they need to use those gloves to execute very precise movements and activities. A needle stick injury or an infection that might result from a glove failure can have really real impacts on the people who are involved. And of course, those things can also become really costly. This article that I found really rang true, given the conversations I've had with surgeons as part of customer discovery. They just put a high value on the quality and the performance of their gloves. So to address this need in the surgical glove market, ElastiDry will improve clinician and patient safety by lowering the injury and infection rates. We're aiming to enhance surgical efficiency because a surgeon's hands are her tools, and ElastiDry would keep those tools clean and dry. And ultimately, both of these things would lead to better patient outcomes, which we know is a critical factor for surgeons. The glove market is worldwide. but there's a significant manufacturing presence in Malaysia due to that region's historical production of natural rubber latex. Top companies like Ansell, Cardinal Health, and Kosan already make high-quality surgical glove products. So we see that there could be some inertia to change. However, none of these companies currently offer a product with the repellent properties of ElastiDry. And of course, there's a large variety of competition in infection prevention, and that competition can range from adopting a new practice or instituting a more advanced cleaning procedure. Sometimes buying some fancy cleaning gizmos. But those new practices require training, and you have to remember to do them every time. The cleaning procedures have to be kept up, and the fancy gizmos, I can guarantee if it's been made for healthcare that it's going to be costly. Really nothing as simple or as cost effective as a glove. No surgeon is going to forget to put on their gloves, and adopting a glove like ElastiDry would be as easy as reaching for one box of gloves over another. I'm really proud of the team that we've built around this technology. I've been working with Andy Thomaswick and Rick Myers, who combined have over 30 years of experience as entrepreneurs. Andy has been an entrepreneur in residence at a number of universities, and he's worked on bringing some of those university technologies to market. These two have been our lead for customer discovery. We have the great support of Alan Tuan, the commercialization manager at PNNL. He's been doing a lot of commercial outreach and looking for licensing opportunities. I'm the technical lead on the project, but I'm also an Energy I-Core alum, so I've been trained in customer discovery. I also learned about business model generation and building a business model canvas. Really pleased to bring those skills to bear to this technology. And of course, there's a large technical team, which I can't name everyone that has contributed to developing this technology and bringing it to the point where it's at right now. The customer discovery that we have done so far has confirmed a customer need for the kind of product that you're seeing right now. We've had discussions with large glove companies who've been pursuing products that would have this kind of super liquid repellent behavior. And in fact, we're in the process of preparing and sending some samples to 2 potential partners. We've also explored, of course, many other exciting uses for this technology, so what you see is just the beginning. What we're doing right now is we're trying to decide, is it really viable for us to stand up manufacturing capability and enter the surgical glove market as a startup? I think even if we were successful there, the most likely exit would be an acquisition by a larger player. So it might be more realistic for us to use the startup to make a small-scale demonstration product, use that to de-risk the manufacturing process and work out any details in making of these gloves, and then use that startup as a vehicle for licensing. As far as the cost of getting ElastiDry to market, it's a little bit hard to peg because of those various options that we are still looking at. For example, glove manufacturing equipment would not be a small investment. And getting to market as a startup would also require taking the gloves and getting an FDA pre-market notification and approval, and some independent test and eval for things like making sure that they are puncture resistant and powder free. If you twisted my arm, I guess I have to say that it would cost at least 7 figures to pursue the path of doing a de-risk of manufacturing for a demonstration product while pursuing licensing. I'm really excited about where this technology is headed. Improving safety for healthcare professionals is personally important to me because my wife has worked as a nurse. And I know this year, more than any other, we all owe a debt of gratitude to the healthcare professionals in our lives and our communities. Through ElastiDry, I want to provide a better level of protection for them because they deserve it. Thank you.